as we move here, there are technically programs that start their competitions in the fall, kind of carry over through the winter and really kick up in the spring. We're just kind of putting them where they make the most sense. And that's kind of where it starts with winter. You have men's and women's basketball, gymnastics, equestrian, swimming, and diving. Quick overview, real quick, and then we'll take some time. Men's basketball, Final Four, and number 1 overall seed. Women's basketball, not a great year, 12 and 18, a little bit of a surprising regime change from Johnny Harris now to Larry Vickers. Gymnastics, 13 and 9 on the season to regional competition in the NCAA tournament up in Seattle. Equestrian was dominant in the regular season, 11 and 4, right? And a little bit of a disappointment in the postseason. Swimming and diving, an okay year. 32 overall is their final ranking for the men, and women was 35. So obviously, we start where everyone's biggest excitement of what for the winter season was, and that was Auburn making the Final Four. Austin, you and I I've been doing this in some capacity, and you've obviously been involved at E2C Network. The last time I think you were involved when the last Final Four happened. Yeah. Did you think that we would be still doing this and talking about a second Final Four?
Still doing this is one question. Talking about another Final Four is another. No, we all, that 2019 team was something we all got the taste. But I think we all believed Bruce would get back there. And he's had successful teams in between. Just that didn't make Final Four, but or I don't know, a pandemic took it away from him. But I think that
I'm convinced. I'm telling you, Austin, that team was going to go on a run. I'm telling you.
But we talked about it afterward, debated it, kind of went through this was the best Auburn men's basketball team in history. And that it was an exciting year that certainly headlined the Auburn athletics year. One that from start to finish was just a dominant team. Went on a run in the NCAA tournament to cap it. Couldn't get it all the way done, but doesn't really take away from just what an exciting year with incredible plays, incredible players, household names competing for Auburn and Bruce Pearl. And it's a year I certainly soon won't forget.
Yeah. And obviously within that too is Auburn being ranked the number 1 overall seed, which was a first time. We talk about Bruce Pearl knocking off these little milestones or things that have never been done at Auburn. Let's just throw in, how can we forget this? He becomes the winningest coach at Auburn throughout this.
Great point.
This whole year. I mean, this year, you just don't think there's another thing he can check off the list, but he finds a way to do it. And so it just made for probably out of the big 3 or the major sports that everybody pays attention to, the one that really captures your attention this year, and deservedly so, with a great coach, a great team, individuals in this team, your Dylan Cardwells, your Janai Brooms that really endear themselves to the Auburn family. Everyone does, but those guys especially. It was just great storylines all year. Obviously, a little bit sad we weren't able to get over that Final Four hump to make it to the national championship game, but no less proud of what they've accomplished. Women's basketball, on the other hand, was a little bit of a little bit different. I was a little bit surprised that even with a 12 and 18 year that we swapped head coaches. Johnny Harris was fired. Larry Vickers was brought in, and certainly we're very excited for his new beginning for Auburn and what he's already done. We've talked about that a little bit, but am I speaking for you too much and saying this was a little bit surprising?
It was surprising. I think we talked about that a little bit. I don't know if everybody really saw it coming or if everybody really agreed it was the right course of action in terms of the fan base and when it all came out. It certainly was an underwhelming year. In the same vein as you just talked about milestones, we certainly could chronicle that on the show. She had made a lot of headway in checking off certain of those boxes, and the trajectory looked like it was heading in the right direction. But a change was made, and that decision is here and gone. Coach Larry Vickers, certainly successful in his own right at Norfolk State, and has gotten teams to the tournament repeatedly. So going to be really interesting to see another change with the Auburn women's basketball program as they try to get this a very storied program. I think a lot of people forget that. That there's a lot of success in the history of that program, and so he's the next one to try and right the ship.
Yeah, obviously, we're sad to see anybody go, but certainly if there were decisions made, we know we're not privy to all the information, and so you just kind of have to learn to accept that as a fan and as a commentator on it, that you may not have all the information. But we're excited for Larry Viggers, thankful for Coach Johnny Harris, and sad it didn't get continued because I really enjoyed talking about her program and talking about her teams. Really thought that she was a great leader for Auburn as well. So a little bit of a somber note for the winter side of things here, but those were probably the two major things to discuss in the winter sport. Certainly not the only. We're just glossing over this thing.